Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with Tactical Solutions. Welcome to our Sunday Stock Talk. Today we're going to be covering and following up with the overall markets as the U.S. comes to an agreement with the U.S. debt ceiling. For those that haven't been kept up to date, as of right now, again, Nasdaq futures are open right now. Nasdaq futures, Dow futures, S&P 500 futures, and we can see that we are in the green. So this is where it looks like we closed at on Friday and then opening up today, right? So from Friday to today being Sunday, we gapped up to highs of 14,400 for the Nasdaq market. It looks like right now we are testing our previous support range at 14,400. And we'll see if we actually hold at this level or if we begin to retrace right back to where we were at Friday close, right? So at Friday close, it looks like we were testing right around 14,366. This is actually not that big of a jump that I would have expected. And I guess this kind of answers the question so far. A lot of people were asking, Ricky, is the market going to continue to rise when the agreement for the U.S. debt ceiling is finalized, right? And it seems like it's already somewhat factored in. One thing that you also need to take into consideration is that President Biden spoke about this today. I think it was about 30 minutes ago, maybe an hour ago, and he gave a quick little speech kind of giving a little bit more on the details of what this compromise was for both sides. He made it very specific that no one got exactly what they wanted. And it had to be a compromise on both sides. But it sounds like, again, originally based off of Biden's original statement, right? Biden said that there is going to be no compromise. There is going to be no negotiation. Raise the debt ceiling and let's move on with this. But based off of what ended up happening, right? And one of the reporters asked him, I thought you said you weren't going to compromise. What happened? He's like, well, what would have been the other alternative? We default, right? That would have been the first time in U.S. history that the U.S. default. I mean, it would have been catastrophic for the stock market, for people who rely on government aid. I mean, the government literally would have no more money to be able to pay government employees, and all that stuff. So who knows what would have happened for such, based off of my earlier video today, from this like fabricated event, right? It's been said that a total of 90 times is the number that the U.S. debt ceiling has been raised. So why overcomplicate it this time, right? And that's kind of the question that everyone was asking is like, why is this becoming such a big deal? And obviously the Republicans viewed it as an opportunity to negotiate. And I wanted to quickly cover some of those things that were covered in that negotiation, right? In that compromise. So after 2 weeks of negotiation, Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy sealed a tentative debt limit deal Saturday night. The agreement includes a 2-year debt limit increase, meaning that they're going to raise it for 2 years, right? And will keep non-defense, non-veteran discretionary spending about flat with current levels for the next 2 years. It would also impose some new restrictions on certain government aid. That doesn't really surprise me. Again, anything that has to do with government aids. I know the Republicans really wanted to cut back on spending, so it doesn't surprise me that that's something that the Republicans wanted to put into place to make sure that, again, we don't continue to dig ourselves into more debt. The other thing that I understood from this compromise is that the Republicans did not accept the Democrats' request to raise taxes. So there will be no additional tax that is going to be added, and that is thanks to the Republicans based off of this specific negotiation. So you guys let me know in the comment section what you think about this, but just wanted to make sure that you guys understood some of the details. One thing that a lot of people are getting confused, and again, I'm going to get right into it, but one of the things that I wanted to share with you guys very quickly is I've been getting a couple of messages, and some people think that the deal is passed. And I think that's where the misunderstanding is. So McCarthy and Biden came to an agreement. It still needs to go through the House and through the Senate. So people still need to vote on it for it to pass. So it has not passed. It's just they believe that Biden represents the Democrats, McCarthy represents the Republicans, and based off of their assumptions, they wanted it to make it enticing enough so both parties can agree and move forward with it. But Remember, I think the deadline is set for June 5th. If they go to vote for it and it gets denied, then we're back to square one. Not that I think it's going to get denied. I just want you guys to be aware of the different moving parts, right? So not yet has it actually been settled and raised when it comes down to the U.S. debt ceiling. It still needs to be voted on and passed through the Senate. So I just wanted to make sure that I reiterate that so you don't have an expectation that, okay, this challenge is over, but we're definitely not over just yet. They still need to pass it through the Senate. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Again, if you guys want me to break down your top stock, I'd be more than happy to share my opinion on what I think about it. All you have to do is share it in the live chat. I know that you guys probably are with friends and families celebrating Memorial Day. I don't want to take too much of your guys' time, so instead of doing 10 stocks, I'm only going to do 5, and then we can film another one of these tomorrow. All you guys have to do is drop a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll take care of the rest. I don't want to keep you guys away from your friends and family, and of course, remembering those that have served. So can I get your opinion about Lululemon? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So what is going on? Is I code it? What's up? Let me go ahead and that's going to be ticker symbol Lulu. So on this day chart, so looking at Lulu right off the bat, again, one of the things that I like to do is I like to look at the larger time frames. I don't know if this is something that you do yourself, but sometimes when I look a little bit too close to the actual, if I look at the maybe 30-minute or the 5-minute, it's a little bit too close to, it doesn't give me the overall big picture. And I like to understand the overall big picture by looking and being able to take a step back, right? If I were to ask you, obviously we see a support level here. Obviously we see a resistance range here. If I were to ask you, are we at a support or at a resistance? Are we at a support or at a resistance? Are we at a potential support or at a potential resistance? What does it look like it's doing right now? It looks like it's retracing, right? And it normally retraces. Normally, patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't always have to. It normally retraces back to 285 and it begins to challenge this support range. Again, it doesn't have to actually find a support here, but as of right now, it's an active sell-off. It's going to test the moving average as it normally does. It's going to consolidate here, and we'll see if it holds above that. And if it breaks below it, then again, based off previous patterns, it wouldn't really surprise me if it retraces back to 285 and it begins to test that support. That's just my opinion. You let me know what it is that you think. Again, you should never trade based off of someone else's opinion. I'm just sharing my thoughts with you. Let's go ahead and, of course, I appreciate you taking time and joining me here for the Sunday stock talk. So I really do appreciate it, and breaking it down is the least that I can do for you. So let me go ahead and let's break down some juicy stocks. So again, if you guys want to partake in this, just make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and then you should be able to partake in the live chat. Let's go ahead and do Marvel. I think Marvel is very interesting because Marvel just recently reported earnings, right? So let's go ahead and check out Marvel. Marvel gapped up to highs of 65. This is 100% my opinion, but what do you guys think? Do you guys think it's overbought or oversold, right? If we were trading at lows just a couple weeks ago of 38 and now we're at 65, I think it's great for those that are already invested. But for me, this is screaming overbought and overvalued. It's great that it had an amazing earnings. It's great that it beat expectation and that it has great guidance. But for me, I've gotten burned so many times by trying to chase stocks like this. I'm not saying that the rally's over. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't predict the future, right? All I know is that anytime that something rallies and gaps up this much within a short period of time, right, from overall lows to current highs, 65%, I've missed the rocket ship. I've learned that, again, I need to take a step back, wait for it to correct itself, and if it still looks bullish and it still meets my criteria, then I can revisit the idea of potentially getting into this. But as of right now, if I were in something like Marvel, I would consider the idea of locking in profits. One stock, again, that I'm going to break down very quickly. Did you guys, you guys probably don't follow me on Twitter. I'm not that active on Twitter. I just post from time to time, just a friends up. I'm verified on Twitter. All the other ones are fake. I never message you first. I never ask for money. I never trade for other people. All of those are fake accounts. They'll try to message you on Instagram. They'll try to message you here on YouTube. I'm just saying this because I try to post about it all the time. I will never ask to trade for you or to invest for you, or I will never ask for any money, right? I offer one thing and one thing only, and that's my Learn Plan Profit group. And that's just so you can watch me trade live. I do nothing when it comes down to management of other people's funds. So please make sure that you are aware of that. If you ever get a message of someone pretending to be me, screenshot it and send it to my account. I'm verified on YouTube, I'm verified on Instagram, and I'm verified on Twitter. So please be aware of that. But one of the things that I shared on Twitter very quickly is that Nvidia sent out, I think on May 26th, that they have the ability, they have to announce it, right, with the SEC. They announced that they have the ability to liquidate $10 billion worth of Nvidia shares, and however they want to dispense of that. So the reason that's really important to be aware of is, remember, Elon Musk did this when Tesla was very overvalued. He also did this right before he was about to acquire Twitter, right? That's why Tesla sold off so aggressively. So what does that tell you? What does that tell me, right? If the company itself is liquidating $10 billion of its own stock, what does that tell you? After the stock gapped up due to earnings over 25%. As of right now, it's up 30%. And that's great. If you want to continue to partake in this, you're an adult. You do whatever it is that you want. But when you see another company, the company itself, after gapping up 30%, after making $250 million in just 2 days, right? Based off of market cap valuation, what does that tell you? To me, that tells me if the company itself is liquidating and has the ability to liquidate $10 billion worth of its stock, that's smart of them, right? They're cashing out, they're locking in profits, making sure that they have cash, right, at a very high valuation. And then from that point moving forward, they can make the decision if they need capital. If we do enter a recession, just like Elon Musk and all these other companies have stated, it makes sense on why they are choosing to liquidate shares at a higher price point, right? Yes, maybe it could go a little bit higher, but for them, I think that they're taking a very safe way out. And that's the same way that I would look if I was trading Nvidia, right? Nvidia is at all-time highs. It gapped up 30% in just 2 to 3 days. And to me, that's just screaming overvalued. And then the cherry on top is the company itself is liquidating $10 billion. But again, don't just stop there. You look into it yourself and ask yourself, why would the company itself be okay with selling $10 billion to cash out, right? At that specific price point. Do you guys remember when GameStop stock did this? When AMC stock did this, right? Like their CEOs and their executives were liquidating shares when the company gapped up, 100, 200, 300%, because they know, right? They know that this is a great exit. Is it perfect? Well, we don't know, right? There's no such thing as a perfect exit, but it's never a bad idea to lock in profits when you can identify that something is overvalued. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of that. Feel free to look into it, and then you guys let me know what you think. I wouldn't go into a short with Nvidia, right? Nvidia is still very bullish. The overall market is still very green, right? We looked at Nasdaq futures. They're up 0.54%, which means TQQQ would be up 1.5% right now. But I think it just says a lot about the company's intention. I think it's very clever that that company decided to liquidate $10 billion of that stock. So let's go ahead and break that down. What's going on, David? I appreciate you asking for me to break down Disney or Costco. Let me go ahead and break down Costco for you. I actually just went to Costco. I know Costco recently reported earnings. They originally were red when they reported earnings, and then they gapped all the way back up to their resistance. So if I were to ask you, right, looking at overall lows and looking at overall highs, of course, patterns tend to repeat themselves, but they don't always have to. But I want to ask you, right, David, do you think that this is oversold or overbought based off of recent patterns? So if you can take a step back and you can see based off of recent patterns, not all-time highs, nothing like that, but on the 4-hour, based off of recent patterns, overall lows and overall highs, what do you think? Is this oversold or overbought based off of recent patterns? Can you look at Target? I would love to break down Target, especially after what has recently happened. But David, I'm asking you, is this oversold or overbought? What's your opinion on it? And feel free, if you guys are tuning on in, feel free to share your opinion as well. Overbought, right? So for me, and again, it's not that Costco can't surpass 510 and that it can't continue to rally. Of course, If it breaks through 510 and then it continues to show no break of pattern, then something else is going on, right? But when we see that it was at lows, earnings come out, it gaps up very quickly, and now is becoming overbought. Normally, in my experience, those are short-lived catalysts. And because of that, again, the idea of locking in profits is never a bad idea, or to be weary when you are approaching a previous resistance range. But again, feel free to do your own due diligence, look into it a little bit more and ask yourself, is this somewhere where I want to buy, or is this overbought enough that I think that it's actually going to retrace before it continues to rally? But again, do your own due diligence. And again, I'm just sharing my thoughts with you. Let's go ahead and break down TGT. The notorious, the famous Target. So Target with a recent drop. Again, if you guys are just tuning on in, if it's not too much to ask, hopefully you guys consider dropping a thumbs up and subscribing to the YouTube channel. So looking at this on the day chart, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard what's been going on. There's some controversial stuff going on with Target right now based off of what they had on display. Target itself has lost I want to say like 10%, 11%, so around $6 to $7 billion of market cap valuation. They're nearly at 52-week highs. And I always try to compare it to Walmart. Walmart is not struggling that bad, right? If you look at this on the day chart, it's nearly at, 52-week highs, not at 52-week lows, right? If you look at this on the weekly chart, we're at 147, and based off previous highs, we're $10 away from previous all-time highs. But if you look at Target, Target is literally all the way down here, right? You guys can have and formulate your own opinions of it. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy going with it. I personally do not care about the news or anybody's opinion about this. To me, this. If I don't think that this is going to be the end of Target, I kind of almost view this as an opportunity, right? While everyone else is bad-mouthing Target, just like anything, it kind of fades as time goes on, right? I don't know 100% if Target is going to fall under that category, but it kind of just intrigues me to pay a little bit more attention to it while this controversy is going, to allow it to bleed, allow it to sell off, and then ask myself, okay, when this thing and if this thing does actually begin to indicate signs of recovery, then I can revisit the idea of potentially investing into this long term. Obviously, everyone has their own opinion of it. If you don't want to invest in it, don't, right? No one should ever be here to convince you on where you should put your money. But while everyone gets super offended by whatever it is that people are sharing or people are doing, I always just ask myself, is this the actual end of a company because of a slight little mistake that they made? And if I believe it is, then again, I don't have to invest in it. But if I view this to be an overreaction on the sell side, right, then I can almost view it as an opportunity. You guys, again, I know it's very controversial for some people. You guys can feel free to share your thoughts on that perspective of things. While everyone freaks out and becomes super opinionated and super emotional, I'm kind of like, I really don't care. I'm just here to make money, right? All emotions aside, all politics aside, is this going to be the end? And if not, this could be a potential good opportunity long term. But there's no confirmation yet. As of right now, it's still selling off. As you can see, I have my different alerts set. But if we look at Target based off of current lows and previous all-time highs, it's an 83% ROI. Just because it's done it before doesn't mean that it has to do it again. But it's just something where, this is why I would revisit the idea of having this in my watch list and to see if this is something that I could follow up with. Will it ever come back to 76? I don't know what you're talking about. So I think you're talking about a different stock. I was like, if you're holding at 76, you'd be up nearly double. Let me go ahead and break down one more stock. So there it goes. And I appreciate all those that have dropped a thumbs up and that is showing some love to the channel. I really do appreciate that. So let's go ahead and do one more and we can call it a day. So I want a good one. So if it doesn't look good, I'm not going to break it down. This one's sideways. United Airlines, yeah, just trading sideways. Not much going on here. I don't see, any very clear direction. So that's not going to be the one. Let's do QCOM. We're going to probably end up with QCOM, strong descending pattern, lower lows, lower highs. Yeah, it's oversold, but there's no break above the moving average, and it just continues to sell off. PayPal has been very, very bearish, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, PayPal has been struggling from overall highs of 310 to current lows of $58. This is what I call a Hail Mary. There's literally almost no hope for it based off of how it's trading. And why try to find the bottom of something that's been selling off for a little bit over 2 years? Let me set my alerts and follow up with it when it actually begins to indicate signs of recovery. Until then, I just wouldn't touch it myself. And then AMD is going to be very similar to Nvidia. I think it's overvalued, and based off of recent patterns, I think that it should be pulling on back. But again, that's just my 2 cents. Let's do SOXL. All right, SOXL based off of recent patterns. Maybe we'll end it with this one. Okay, so SOXL has been showing signs of higher highs, higher lows, but very overbought based off of recent patterns. We're at 85 RSI on the day chart. I do see why you're paying attention to it. There's an inverse of this, if I'm not mistaken, right? So on the 4 hour, okay, overbought, overextended, RSI at 85. I would have to revisit this. I mean, it looks very, very bullish, but anytime something is at 80 plus RSI, I just kind of, it's too overbought for my taste, and I would almost consider the idea of calling it a missed play, right? All right, the realist is asking me to break down FLTR. FLTR, let's see. I don't think this is the one you wanted me to break down, right? Yeah, no, this one's really bad. So NKE. All right, Nike based off of recent patterns. Nice little pullback, retracement at 128. Looks like it's testing its support here to see if it could hold above 100. If not, again, 52-week lows. Nike is not necessarily a stock that I would consider to be a trade myself. I view it more as a long-term play based off of how its previous performance have been. But as of right now, it's kind of been struggling to hold above the moving average. It looks like it did a double top, and then now it's retracing back. So I would personally like to wait for more signs of a support, and if it actually begins to form the reversal, just like we talk about in LPP, there's the 3 stages of reversal: rejection, consolidation, and confirmation. Literally a textbook setup. We kind of just have to wait for this thing to play out and to see if it actually begins to show signs of consolidation and then signs of that reversal. If not, allow it to bleed. Remember, the more it sells off, the cheaper you can get it for, and why overcomplicate that? So again, guys, I don't want to take too much of your guys' time. Nasdaq futures are showing signs of a support right around 14,400. Nasdaq futures are up nearly 0.6%. And it looks like overall markets are reacting in a positive way after an agreement has been put in place for the U.S. debt ceiling. There's 2 things that I want to share with you. First is, guys, there is 7 days, 5 hours, and 50 minutes, and 24 seconds from when I'm recording this video or when I'm live right now for our GTR giveaway. You do not have to enter. Let me make that very clear. But there's 7 days left, and one of you is going to win, right? It's GTR or 50K cash. There's 7 days left after all this time that we've been running the giveaway. Let me share with you why now is the time. This is the final week, and we're doing 20x entries. So this is at shoptechbuds.com. Every $1 you spend now equals 20 automatic entries. Again, that means a hoodie is 1,200 entries. A GTR mystery bundle is 1,000 entries. A GTR mystery box is 3,300 entries. A little mouse pad is 1,000 entries, or an acid GTR mouse pad is 700 entries. Obviously, the more you shop, the more entries that you get. But again, there's a 100% chance you will not win if you don't enter. The second way that you can enter the GTR giveaway is you can head on over to learnplanprofit.net. And again, all new LPP members that sign up today moving forward until the end of the giveaway, as of right now, earn 10,000 automatic entries. The second link in the description down below is our biggest sell. So if you've already wanted to join our LPP team to be able to watch me trade live, it's a one-time payment, lifetime access. You'll get to watch me trade live every day. It's the second link in the description down below. And just for the cherry on top, you'll get 10,000 automatic entries for the GTR or 50K cash giveaway. So where do you check your entries? If you are shopping at Shop Tech Buds, you check your entries on where you actually sign in, right? So you can go here and actually sign in. But when it comes down to LPP, they're automatically tracked and they're sent out to the sweepstakes company. So we have a third-party sweepstakes company. Again, if you want to learn more about the GTR giveaway, or licensed and bonded, they're the ones that are going to select the winner. And if you want to learn more about it, again, it's literally all broken down on what it is that the GTR giveaway consists of. But it's very simple. There's 2 ways to enter. You can either head on over to shoptechbuds.com or the 4th link in the description down below. And right now, every $1 you spend equals 20 automatic entries. Or to keep it simple, if you've already wanted to join my team to watch me trade live every morning, it's a one-time payment, lifetime access. Our biggest discount, $175 off. It's the second link in the description down below. And again, it's 10,000 automatic entries. You don't have to join. These are just the 2 different options. And of course, the biggest bang for your buck when it comes down to the GTR entries. If you have any questions before signing up, feel free to message me via Discord or via Instagram, which is also linked in the description down below. 7 days left. Just remember, 7 days left, and one of you is going to win the GTR or the $50,000. And for those that don't know, for the Memorial Day weekend giveaway, we're giving away an Infiniti G35. There's a 4-day giveaway. So maybe even if you don't win the GTR giveaway, literally anyone that buys anything today and tomorrow for Shop Tech Buds, you get entered for our Memorial Day giveaway, and you get entered to win that car. If you don't want the car, we can just give you $1,000 cash. So we're trying to make it exciting. Obviously, one of you is going to win, and I'm just happy to post about it and share this experience with you guys. So I really do appreciate you guys' time. I hope that earned a thumbs up. If you have any questions, send me a direct message. Remember, I'm literally always just one direct message away. Don't overcomplicate it. Send me a direct message, ask me your questions, and let's get connected. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.